The passenger who spills beer across your back seat tips you $20 and says he is sorry. The passenger after him opens the door, pauses, and asks why the car smells like alcohol. At 1:17 in the morning, your 4.98 rating is still on the screen. The button that pays your bills is not. 4.98. Thousands of rides. Years of strangers arriving alive, on time, with their chargers, wallets, and bad decisions intact. You thought the number was trust stored in an account. It was not protection. It was decoration. The app does not say you are drunk. It does not say you are fired. A red banner says your account is on hold while a safety report is reviewed. The map remains visible beneath it, still glowing with demand you are no longer allowed to touch. 3 years earlier, the warehouse cut your shifts without cutting your rent. You financed a used sedan, passed the checks, watched 12 training screens, and agreed to terms long enough to outlive the phone you signed them on. Then the app gave you a map and called that independence. You learned which airport lane actually moved, which hotel doors stayed locked after midnight, and which neighborhoods produced 20-minute pickups for 5-minute rides. You kept water in the trunk, charging cables in the console, cleaning powder under the seat, and patience where your personality used to be. The rating climbed one polite silence at a time. On the platform, 500 recent opinions became a single number beside your face. Riders saw 4.98 and entered without asking questions. You saw 4.98 and believed the app had also entered into a relationship with you. Then, a transmission warning erased 1 week of earnings. New brakes erased another. Commercial insurance did not care that Tuesday had been slow. The car payment did not care that the airport queue had been full. Independence meant every machine above you could transfer its bad week into your bank account. So you became harder to surprise. You drove the nights other people avoided. You memorized bathrooms that stayed open. You stopped buying coffee and started carrying tablets for the headache behind your eyes. The app called this reliability. Your body called it Thursday. Friday nights paid for the quiet hours. Concert crowds, airport delays, wet sidewalks, people too tired or too drunk to drive themselves. Safety was the product. You were the disposable packaging it arrived in. The first passenger leaves a paper bag on the floor. A plastic cup rolls out, lid loose, beer spreading into the fabric under the seat. He apologizes, tips you, and disappears behind an apartment gate before you understand how far the smell has traveled. You blot the seat at a gas station. The surge map is dark red. 17 minutes offline feels expensive, so you spray cleaner, open both windows, and accept the next ride. Caution has a price. That night, you decide it is 17 minutes. The next passenger wrinkles her nose. You explain the spill. She says nothing for the rest of the trip. 8 minutes after drop-off, the app asks you to pull over. A safety report says a rider detected the smell of alcohol and questioned whether you were fit to drive. The platform has not decided the report is true. That is the part you keep repeating. But uncertainty is enough to remove you from the road, while certainty is manufactured. The company calls it an investigation. Your bills call it unemployment. You tap contact support. A message says a specialized team is reviewing the case. You ask for a phone number. The reply, thanks you for your patience. You ask for a name. The reply says safety is the platform's highest priority. You begin to hate that sentence. In Washington, rideshare companies must maintain a zero-tolerance drug and alcohol policy and a way for passengers to report reasonable suspicion. The rule exists because the alternative is letting a possibly impaired driver keep carrying strangers while somebody waits for proof. It is a defensible rule. It also answers a question nobody puts on the screen. While the platform investigates, who pays for being uncertain? The investigation costs the company a case number. It costs you every ride you cannot accept. You remember the dash cam. The video shows the first passenger carrying the bag. It records the cup rolling forward. It catches your curse when liquid reaches the floor mat. You upload the clip and wait for a machine somewhere to turn evidence into permission. The camera proves there was a spill. It does not prove what the second passenger smelled. It proves your hands stayed on the wheel. It does not prove what was in your blood. Evidence can be real and still fail to answer the question that removed your income. The formal notice arrives by email. It gives the reason, the policy, the start date, and the contact information for the Driver Resource Center. It tells you what may happen next. The message is a model of compliance. It is also useless at 2 in the morning. Washington gives many rideshare drivers a regulated path to challenge eligible deactivations. But an alcohol or drug allegation sits outside that ordinary category, while an active investigation of no more than 10 business days is underway. You have rights. First, you have to wait for the right kind of problem. In the morning, a worker at the Driver Resource Center explains the boundary more clearly than the app did. Keep the notice, save the video, preserve the messages. If the hold crosses into an eligible deactivation, call again. Until then, the investigation is still allowed to be an investigation. The notice says you may use whatever paid sick time you have accrued. You open the balance. It is real. It is also smaller than the week ahead. A legal protection can exist, function correctly, and still be too short to reach the bill it was supposed to protect you from. Monday arrives exactly on schedule. The vehicle payment leaves first, insurance follows, rent waits behind them like a larger animal. The app sends a notification reminding drivers that weekend demand is high. Your account is not active, but the marketing department has not been informed. For 10 minutes, you consider opening another account. Then you close the page. A duplicate identity could turn a disputed safety report into a separate integrity problem. The system has removed your income, but it can still create new ways for you to be wrong. On the third day, the status still says under review. On the fourth, a support agent asks for information already attached to the case. You send it again. The fifth day produces no message at all. Silence is efficient when only one side is paying for it. You return to the gas station and ask whether the camera still has footage of you cleaning the seat. The clerk shakes his head. You find the spray receipt in the center console, softened by spilled water and old heat. It proves you bought cleaner. It does not prove why. A safety investigator finally calls. The voice is calm, human, and careful. When did you last drink? Did you consume anything during the shift? Why did the passenger report a smell? You answer each question twice, once with facts and once with the fear that facts sound rehearsed. You mention the rating. The investigator says your history is part of the review. Part. Thousands of completed rides are permitted to stand beside the newest allegation, but they are not permitted to erase it. Safety systems are designed to distrust averages when the latest report might be serious. You begin blaming the second passenger, then the first, then the support agents. By evening, you understand the more irritating truth. Each person did what the system asked. One reported a concern. One opened a case. One preserved uncertainty. Nobody had to hate you for this to happen. By day 7, you have stopped checking the app every minute. You check every 7 minutes instead. The car sits clean in the parking lot, inspected, insured, financed, and useless. You own every cost required to work. The platform owns the moment work becomes possible. A friend offers you cash to drive him privately to the airport. You refuse. Your insurance, the platform agreement, and the story you are already trying to explain have made improvisation feel like a trap. You are learning obedience from a system that is not currently allowing you to work. On the 8th day, the banner disappears. A message says the review is complete and your access has been restored. It does not call the report false. It does not call you innocent. It gives you the one result that matters and none of the language you wanted. The app can restore access. It cannot restore Tuesday. It cannot put the vehicle payment back before the late fee, refill the sick time balance, or sell the airport rides that expired while your case number waited in somebody else's queue. The first screen says, "Welcome back." The second asks whether you are ready to go online. There is no ceremony, no manager, and no human face to resent. Nobody fired you. The button simply disappeared for 8 days. It was cleaner that way. Your first passenger opens the door and says the car smells strongly of disinfectant. Your hands tighten on the wheel. You explain before he asks. You point to the camera. You mention the cleaning receipt. He has not accused you of anything. The investigation is over. your body has not received the message. After that, every spill gets photographed. Every open container becomes a support message. Every strange conversation receives a timestamp. You used to think good service meant making problems disappear. Now, good service means proving they existed before somebody else describes them differently. The rating stays at 4.98. Riders still see trust. You see 500 opinions that can be outweighed by the right sentence typed at the wrong moment. The number did not change. Your relationship to it did. Passengers buy a ride. The platform sells safety, convenience, and distance from responsibility. You supply the car, the time, the insurance, the evidence, and the waiting. When uncertainty enters the vehicle, the system knows exactly where to send the invoice. The process was not imaginary. The notice arrived, a human called, the account returned. That is what makes the story harder, not easier. A system can follow its process and still choose the person with the least power to finance the delay. The screen never accused you. It only removed the button that paid your bills while other people decided what the smell meant. The agreement never promised you would be believed first. It promised there would be a process. You accepted that distinction before the first passenger entered your car. You signed here.